She had just wanted a quiet afternoon by the pool, but when a woman pointed at her and said, "Staff shouldn't be using the guest chairs," the entire hotel fell into silence. Moments later, everyone would find out that the woman they had judged wasn't a maid, a server, or anyone they thought they could talk down to. She was the CEO of a major airline. And by the time the truth came out, all eyes were on the woman who tried to humiliate her. This is the story of assumptions, and the public shame that followed. Comment your city if you're watching. Ava Montgomery didn't usually take vacations, not because she didn't want to, but because running an international airline left little room for rest. As the first black woman to serve as CEO of a primary commercial carrier, every step she took was watched, measured, and challenged. But on this particular weekend, she carved out 3 days for herself. No boardrooms, no press calls, just the sun, a novel, and the serenity of a luxury resort on the coast of California. She had booked a high-end suite under her name, not her corporate title, intentionally avoiding attention. Her assistant had even joked that this was the first time Ava had flown somewhere without flying the plane of expectations with her. She laughed, letting her guard down as she sank into the hotel's plush lounge chair, feet dipped in the warm pool. Around her, children splashed, couples ordered drinks, and staff bustled with towels and sunscreen. No one seemed to notice her, and that was the point. For once she was just another guest, but sometimes being just another guest wasn't that simple. A woman seated nearby glanced at Ava, then another. She whispered to her husband, who wore a sheriff's department t-shirt, before adjusting her sunglasses and eyeing Ava again. It wasn't curiosity, it was calculation. Ava kept her posture calm, but something about the woman's stare felt sharp and invasive. The kind of look that didn't ask questions, it made assumptions. She exhaled and turned back to her book, unaware that this moment of peace was about to be shattered in front of the entire pool. It started small, like these things always do. Ava had stood to stretch her legs, taking a slow walk around the pool's edge. When she returned, she noticed something odd. Her towel and sunglasses were missing from her chair. In their place was the same woman from earlier, now sprawled out sipping a cocktail, her sheriff's department husband sitting beside her. Ava approached politely, asking if there'd been a mix-up. The woman glanced up, lips pursed. "I assumed no one was using it." Ava blinked, scanning the other chairs, none of which were touched. "That was mine," she said, keeping her voice steady. "My towel and book were right there." The woman scoffed. "Well, they weren't when I got here. Maybe next time don't leave your things unattended." The words were barbed, laced with a tone Ava had heard too many times in boardrooms, elevators, and store aisles. It wasn't about a chair. It never was. Then the man stood up. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, hand grazing the edge of his waistband, where his badge would usually hang. Ava's heart didn't race, but her jaw clenched. "No problem," she replied calmly. "Just reclaiming the space I was sitting in." The woman sneered. "Oh, please. People like you are always quick to play the victim." "Relax, it's a pool, not a courtroom." A ripple went through the air. A few heads turned, and then, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, the woman said, "It's not like you're staying here anyway. Staff shouldn't be using the guest amenities." Hush fell over the pool deck. Ava froze. Did she say what I think she said? The woman leaned back in her chair, pleased with herself, while the man chuckled under his breath. "Let it go," he muttered to her. But Ava didn't let it go. She stepped back, walked toward the hotel concierge, and quietly requested the pool manager. Minutes later, a hotel supervisor arrived. Ava handed him her key card, calmly asking if he could verify her reservation. The supervisor scanned it, blinked, and straightened his posture. "Ms. Montgomery," he said with sudden recognition, we're honored to have you staying with us. Your penthouse suite is still prepared. Would you like assistance relocating your things poolside?" Ava smiled gently and nodded. "Yes, please." The cop's wife stared, confusion beginning to shadow her face. Ava turned back toward the pool, ready to claim not just her chair but her identity. As the supervisor escorted Ava back toward the pool, a staff member arrived carrying her personal belongings, including her monogrammed towel, aviator sunglasses, hand hardcover book. Gasps and whispers filled the air as guests pieced together what had just happened. The woman in the chair, the one so sure Ava was staff, now sat stiffly, eyes darting between the concierge and her husband. The colour drained from her face as the supervisor gently tapped her shoulder. "I'm afraid you're sitting in Ms. Montgomery's reserved lounger," he said evenly. "May I kindly ask you to move?" Ava stood nearby, not gloating, just composed. The man muttered something under his breath, but even he knew better than to challenge what had now become a public embarrassment. Then came the final blow. A child nearby asked their mom in a loud, innocent voice, "Why is everyone staring at that lady?" Before the mother could hush the child, another guest whispered, "That's Ava Montgomery, CEO of Jetwave Airlines." The silence that followed was heavier than any outburst. The same woman who had insulted her now looked ready to vanish into the pool itself. Ava stepped forward, not with anger but with clarity. Her presence alone, her silence, was louder than any confrontation, because this wasn't just about a lounge chair. It was about the assumption that a black woman didn't belong there. Until she had to prove she did. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. Ava returned to her chair, not out of pride but principle. She sat back down, adjusted her towel, and resumed reading as if nothing had happened. But inside, something stirred. Not rage, not even sadness, just the familiar ache of being underestimated. Again. Later that evening, a small envelope appeared at her suite door. Inside, a handwritten apology from the hotel manager and a voucher for a complimentary stay. But no apology came from the couple at the pool, and Ava didn't expect one. This wasn't about her title, her success, or even her race alone. It was about how quickly people decide who belongs and who does based on the shallowest of cues. She spent her life earning her place in boardrooms and executive lounges. But out here in the open, none of that shielded her from judgment. It reminded her that respect shouldn't have to be earned at all, it should be given. As she flew home days later, Ava thought not of revenge, but of visibility. Of how many women who looked like her wouldn't have had the strength or platform to respond with grace. Her story wasn't unique. That was the tragedy. How many more black women are being doubted, dismissed, or degraded simply for existing in spaces they more than earned? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and fresh videos.